Picture this. You wake up in the morning, you check your blood sugar before breakfast, and the number staring back at you is higher than you expected, even though you haven't eaten a single thing yet. Annoying, right? You're doing what you've been told. You're trying, and still, those numbers refuse to cooperate. Now, what if I told you that part of the answer isn't hiding inside expensive prescriptions, restrictive meal plans, or complicated fitness routines, but in something far simpler? In a basic leaf that's been quietly sitting in kitchens, spice cabinets, and backyard herb gardens for generations. I'm Dr. Matthew Brooks, and today I'm going to introduce you to three leaves that research suggests may genuinely support blood sugar management, cardiovascular health, and metabolic function, not through hype, not through miracle promises, but through compounds that operate at the cellular level. These aren't rare ingredients you have to special order from halfway across the world. These are accessible, affordable plant leaves that contain specific nutrients and bioactive compounds that clinical studies suggest can influence insulin sensitivity, glucose absorption, and arterial health. Now, I want to be very clear from the start. I'm not saying these leaves replace medical care, prescriptions, or the guidance you're getting from your healthcare team. What I am saying is this. When you understand how certain foods and plant compounds work metabolically, you can make smarter, informed choices that support the overall strategy you're already building. The research on these leaves is genuinely fascinating. We're talking about compounds that influence how quickly glucose gets absorbed, how effectively insulin signals cells, and how your vascular system handles inflammation and plaque formation over time. Before we break down these three leaves in detail, I'm curious about something. If you're comfortable sharing, tell me your first name and age in the comments below. It helps me understand who this information is serving. And it reminds all of us that metabolic health is a shared journey we're navigating together, no matter what stage of life we're in. Now, while billions of dollars are spent every year on medications and interventions, many of which are absolutely necessary and life-saving, these humble leaves work quietly in the background. They support your body's natural regulatory systems, help cells respond better to insulin, reduce inflammatory processes that damage blood vessels, and help stabilize glucose patterns throughout the day. What you're about to learn is grounded in published research, clinical observations, and traditional use patterns that stretch back centuries across multiple cultures. This isn't about rejecting science-based medicine. It's about understanding how specific plant compounds can complement and support the work your body is already trying to do. Let's start with the first leaf. Leaf 1, bay leaves. Most of us have used bay leaves in cooking at some point. Tossed into soups, stews, sauces, and broths to add depth and that aromatic, almost woodsy flavor. But very few people realize these common leaves contain a surprisingly dense concentration of nutrients and bioactive compounds that may influence metabolic health. Let me walk you through what's actually in a bay leaf, because when you understand the components, it becomes much easier to understand why they might matter for blood sugar management. Protein content. Bay leaves contain approximately 1.8 grams of protein per 100 grams of dried leaf material. Now, you're not going to get huge amounts of protein from the small quantities you use in cooking or tea, but plant proteins can still play a subtle role in glucose regulation. Protein helps activate insulin receptors on the surface of cells, which can improve how efficiently your cells pull glucose out of the bloodstream. And even small improvements in insulin receptor activity can translate into lower fasting glucose and calmer post-meal spikes over time. Carbohydrate profile. Bay leaves contain about 7.9 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams. But here's the key. They have a low glycemic index, around 38. That means when you consume bay leaves, they don't cause a significant rise in blood sugar themselves. More interestingly, certain compounds in bay leaves appear to influence how other foods you eat alongside them affect your blood sugar response. Fiber content. This is where things get especially interesting. Bay leaves contain approximately 26 grams of fiber per 100 grams, an extraordinarily high concentration. That fiber, especially the soluble portion, slows glucose absorption in your digestive tract. That helps prevent the sharp post-meal spikes that can damage blood vessels over time. Soluble fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, and those gut bacteria play surprisingly powerful roles in insulin sensitivity and glucose regulation. On top of that, multiple studies show that higher soluble fiber intake can help reduce LDL cholesterol by roughly 10 to 12%, which gives your cardiovascular system a meaningful protective advantage. Magnesium. Bay leaves provide about 120 milligrams of magnesium per 100 grams. This mineral is absolutely crucial for glucose metabolism, and it's also one of the most common deficiencies seen in people with diabetes. Magnesium helps muscles absorb and utilize glucose more effectively. It supports hundreds of enzymatic reactions involved in energy production, and research shows that correcting a magnesium deficiency can improve A1C by approximately 0.4 to 0.6 percentage points. It also supports heart rhythm, kidney function, and nerve signaling, three systems that often take a hit when blood sugar is unstable. Vitamin A. At approximately 1,000 international units per 100 grams, the vitamin A in bay leaves contributes antioxidant support that helps protect nerve tissue from oxidative damage, one of the pathways involved in diabetic neuropathy. It also supports vision and helps cells communicate more effectively, which indirectly supports insulin sensitivity. Vitamin C. Bay leaves contain about 12 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams. Beyond immune support, vitamin C supports arterial flexibility, reduces oxidative stress that damages endothelial cells, and has been associated with improvements in fasting blood sugar when combined with other fundamentals like daily movement and adequate hydration. Iron, about 9 milligrams per 100 grams. The iron in bay leaves supports oxygen delivery to muscles and organs, which improves metabolic efficiency. Better oxygen delivery means your heart can work more efficiently, your kidneys can filter more effectively, and your muscles can utilize glucose more readily. Calcium. Bay leaves surprisingly contain around 500 milligrams of calcium per 100 grams. Calcium isn't only about bones. It also supports vascular tone and flexibility, plays a role in insulin signaling, and contributes to overall healthy blood vessel function. Potassium, roughly 1,000 milligrams per 100 grams. Potassium helps balance sodium levels, supports healthy blood pressure, aids kidney filtration, and helps reduce fluid retention. Adequate potassium helps keep arterial walls more supple, which reduces cardiovascular strain. And since magnesium is so important here, it's worth emphasizing the same point in a slightly different way. Bay leaves provide about 120 milligrams of magnesium per 100 grams, and that matters because magnesium supports glucose transport into cells, improves insulin signaling, and helps your body run the enzymatic machinery that turns food into usable energy. When magnesium status improves, many people see better A1C trends, steadier nerve function, and more stable cardiovascular rhythm, especially when they pair it with consistent hydration and balanced meals. Manganese, about 2.3 milligrams per 100 grams. Manganese activates antioxidant enzyme systems that protect your heart, liver, and kidneys from oxidative damage. It also plays direct roles in glucose metabolism and supports the body's ability to burn stored fat more efficiently. Beyond the vitamins and minerals, bay leaves contain polyphenols and flavonoids, plant compounds that act as powerful antioxidants. These compounds help reduce arterial plaque formation, lower LDL cholesterol, and activate cellular pathways like AMPK that improve how cells respond to insulin and utilize glucose more effectively. Research suggests these compounds may help reduce fasting glucose by roughly 15 to 20 milligrams per deciliter and decrease post-meal spikes by about 15%. Bay leaves also contain essential oils, particularly eugenol and myrcene, that appear to enhance insulin receptor sensitivity and reduce inflammatory signaling. In some studies, these oils have been associated with A1C reductions in the range of about 0.3 to 0.5%. They may also help reduce fat accumulation in the liver and improve glucose uptake in muscle tissue. So, how do you actually use bay leaves in a practical way? Daily use: 1 to 2 dried bay leaves per day, usually steeped in hot water as a tea or added into cooked foods. Excessive intake can potentially cause digestive discomfort or mild liver stress because of concentrated essential oils, so moderation matters. And if you have kidney disease or known allergies to related plants, talk with your healthcare provider before making it a daily habit. Bay leaf tea. Take 2 dried bay leaves and add them to about 250 milliliters of water, heated to around 80 degrees. Hot, but not boiling, because boiling can degrade some compounds. Steep for 10 minutes, strain, and drink warm. You can add a small amount of cinnamon for additional glucose modulating support. Vegetable stew with bay leaves. Combine 1 cup each of carrots, zucchini, and tomatoes with 2 bay leaves, 2 teaspoons of olive oil, and 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Simmer gently around 90 degrees for about 30 minutes. The combination of fiber, antioxidants, and bay leaf compounds creates a meal that supports steadier glucose and better cardiovascular function. Bay leaf lemon chicken. Marinate about 150 grams of chicken breast with 2 bay leaves, juice from half a lemon, 1 teaspoon of olive oil, minced garlic, salt, and pepper for 30 minutes. Bake at 180 degrees for about 25 minutes. The protein, the vitamin C from lemon, and the bay leaf compounds can work together to support insulin sensitivity. At the organ level, here's what bay leaves may support: cardiovascular health through LDL reduction and improved arterial flexibility, nerve protection through antioxidant defense that may reduce neuropathy risk, kidney function through improved electrolyte balance and filtration support, liver and metabolic health through activation of fat-burning pathways, muscle glucose utilization to help manage both fasting and post-meal levels, and eye health through protective antioxidant effects. The combination of these factors, polyphenols, flavonoids, essential oils, fiber, and minerals, creates multiple supportive mechanisms operating at the same time. Daily use alongside protein-rich foods and adequate overall fiber may help reduce fasting glucose by about 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter, decrease post-meal spikes by roughly 15%, and contribute to A1C reductions in the range of about 0.3 to 0.5% over time when combined with other healthy lifestyle fundamentals. Leaf number 2, guava leaves. The second leaf may surprise you because many people know guava fruit, but far fewer realize guava leaves contain an impressive range of compounds that influence glucose metabolism and vascular health. When you look at what's inside guava leaves, it becomes easier to understand why traditional medicine systems across multiple cultures have used them for metabolic support for centuries. Protein content. Dried guava leaves contain approximately 18.53 grams of protein per 100 grams of dry weight. Again, you aren't consuming massive amounts, but plant proteins still support muscle glucose uptake, meaning your muscles can become more efficient at pulling sugar from the bloodstream. When muscles respond better to insulin signals, insulin resistance can decrease, and that can translate into lower fasting glucose and smoother post-meal glucose curves. Carbohydrate profile. Guava leaves contain roughly 12.74 grams of carbohydrates per 100 grams dry weight, but most of these are complex structures bound up with fiber, giving them an extremely low glycemic impact. When you drink guava leaf tea or use guava leaf preparations, you don't get a sugar surge. Instead, certain compounds in the leaves appear to slow how quickly glucose from other foods gets absorbed, stabilizing blood sugar and reducing long-term A1C elevation. Fiber content. At approximately 5.41 grams per 100 grams dry weight, the fiber in guava leaves acts like a regulatory brake in the digestive system. It slows glucose absorption, so your blood sugar doesn't spike sharply after meals. That steadier glucose entry helps protect blood vessels from damage and supports beneficial gut bacteria that improve insulin sensitivity, meaning your body doesn't have to produce as much insulin to stay stable. Antioxidant profile. This is where guava leaves really stand out. They contain extremely high levels of polyphenols and flavonoids, particularly quercetin and gallic acid, with total polyphenol content reaching approximately 1,700 milligrams per 100 grams of dried leaf. These compounds function like microscopic defenders, neutralizing free radicals and reducing oxidative stress inside your arteries. Since oxidative stress is a major driver of arterial inflammation and plaque buildup, reducing it helps vessels remain more flexible, resilient, and less prone to damage. That supports healthier blood pressure and reduces oxidation of LDL cholesterol that contributes to blockages. Vitamin C. Guava leaves contain approximately 142.55 milligrams of vitamin C per 100 grams, a remarkably high concentration. Beyond immune benefits, vitamin C supports endothelial function, meaning the lining of your arteries can relax and expand more effectively. That improves blood flow, reduces workload on the heart, and decreases cardiovascular risk. People who use guava leaf preparations regularly often show improvements in vascular function markers and reduced cholesterol oxidation. Potassium. At about 1.11% potassium content, guava leaves contribute potassium, which helps regulate blood pressure, balance sodium, and support kidney filtration. When potassium is adequate, blood vessels don't constrict as aggressively, the heart doesn't have to work as hard, and the overall cardiovascular system experiences less chronic strain. Calcium and phosphorus. The mineral profile in guava leaves supports smooth muscle function in blood vessel walls, helping vessels contract and relax appropriately rather than becoming stiff and dysfunctional, a common problem when high glucose damages vascular tissue over time. What makes guava leaves particularly interesting metabolically is how their bioactive compounds influence glucose regulation at the cellular level. Research suggests these compounds activate signaling pathways that improve how cells respond to insulin. That means the liver tends to produce less excess glucose, and muscles utilize glucose more efficiently. The result is lower fasting glucose, fewer dramatic spikes after meals, and gradual improvements in A1C, often without requiring extreme restriction or adding another medication. Guava leaves also appear to influence lipid metabolism in meaningful ways. Studies show regular consumption of guava leaf preparations can lower total cholesterol, triglycerides, and harmful LDL while raising protective HDL. That creates a healthier lipid balance and supports the body in clearing plaque rather than allowing it to keep accumulating. At the organ level, the benefits extend across multiple systems. Your heart faces lower cardiovascular risk through improved lipid profiles and reduced oxidative stress. Your kidneys experience less strain because steadier glucose and blood pressure protect delicate filtering structures. Your nerves benefit from antioxidants and stable glucose, reducing oxidative damage that contributes to neuropathy. Even the liver gets relief because improved insulin sensitivity can reduce fat accumulation and inflammatory stress in liver cells. Now let's talk practical ways to use guava leaves. Guava leaf tea. Take 4 fresh or dried guava leaves and place them in about 500 milliliters of water heated to around 90 degrees. Steep for 10 minutes, strain, and drink warm. Consuming this before breakfast or before a carbohydrate-rich meal may help flatten your post-meal glucose curve throughout the day. Guava leaf infusion with lemon and cinnamon. Bring 4 guava leaves and 500 milliliters of water to a gentle simmer. Add the juice of half a lemon and 1 teaspoon of cinnamon. Let it cool to around 70 degrees before drinking. Lemon adds vitamin C, while cinnamon provides additional compounds that support insulin sensitivity, creating a synergistic effect. Guava leaf vegetable broth. In a pot, combine 1 liter of water, 6 guava leaves, 1 cup of chopped spinach, and 1 cup of zucchini. Add 1 teaspoon of turmeric and simmer around 95 degrees for 25 minutes. Strain the leaves and drink the warm broth. This provides hydration plus fiber, antioxidants, and nutrients that support glucose management. Daily dosing. A typical recommendation is about 250 to 500 milliliters of properly prepared guava leaf tea per day. Too much may cause mild digestive discomfort, nausea, bloating, especially in sensitive individuals. And if you're taking glucose-lowering medications, monitor your blood sugar carefully because guava leaves may enhance those effects. If you have kidney disease or you're pregnant, consult your healthcare provider before regular use, since concentrated preparations can affect electrolyte balance. The comprehensive effects of guava leaves work on multiple fronts simultaneously, helping lower fasting glucose, reducing post-meal spikes, improving insulin sensitivity, protecting arteries from oxidative damage, supporting healthier fat metabolism at the cellular level, and benefiting many major organ systems affected by metabolic dysfunction. Research suggests fasting glucose may decrease by about 10 to 20 milligrams per deciliter. Post-meal spikes may drop by roughly 15%, and A1C may decline by up to 0.5% over time when combined with other healthy habits. The third leaf, mulberry. Mulberry leaves contain what researchers consider one of the most fascinating glucose-regulating compounds found in any plant, a molecule called 1-deoxynogeromycin, or DNJ for short. But before we get to that specific compound, let me walk you through the overall nutritional and biochemical profile of mulberry leaves so you understand why they work. Protein content. Mulberry leaves contain meaningful plant protein that supports muscle glucose uptake and insulin receptor activity. When muscle tissue becomes more efficient at absorbing glucose from the bloodstream, insulin sensitivity improves and insulin resistance decreases. For many people, this alone can support lower fasting glucose naturally and help smooth out post-meal spikes that contribute to long-term vascular damage. Carbohydrate profile. Mulberry leaves do contain carbohydrates, but much of it is structured in ways that behave more like fiber than digestible sugar. Because of this, mulberry leaf preparations have an extremely low glycemic impact. Even more interesting, when mulberry leaf extract is taken alongside high carbohydrate meals, research shows it can reduce the glycemic index of those foods by up to 50% or more, meaning blood sugar rises far less dramatically after eating. Fiber content. The dietary fiber in mulberry leaves slows digestion and glucose absorption, preventing the bloodstream from being flooded with sugar all at once. Instead of sharp spikes, the glucose curve stays smoother and more manageable. That protects blood vessels and reduces stress on the heart and kidneys. This fiber also feeds beneficial gut bacteria, which further supports insulin sensitivity and energy metabolism. Antioxidant compounds. Mulberry leaves are rich in flavonoids, phenolic acids, and other polyphenols that act like cellular defenders. These compounds neutralize free radicals that would otherwise damage the endothelial cells, lining blood vessels and accelerate plaque formation. When free radicals are controlled, arteries stay more flexible and open, improving blood flow and supporting healthier blood pressure. DNJ 1-deoxynogeromycin. This is the compound that makes mulberry leaves uniquely powerful. DNJ inhibits digestive enzymes, specifically alpha-glucosidase, which means your body breaks down and absorbs sugar more slowly from the foods you eat. Blood glucose rises less sharply, and insulin doesn't surge as dramatically. In human clinical studies, adding mulberry leaf extract containing DNJ to a high-sugar meal reduced peak glucose rise by about 40% and peak insulin levels by around 40%, showing a strong ability to blunt spikes right at the digestive level. Additional bioactive compounds. Mulberry leaves also contain flavonoids like rutin and chlorogenic acid, plus polysaccharides that support immune function and improve glucose metabolism pathways at the cellular level. These phytochemicals reduce chronic inflammation in the vascular system, making arteries less prone to stiffness and plaque accumulation. Mineral content. The magnesium in mulberry leaves supports glucose transport into cells, reducing circulating glucose and decreasing stress on insulin-producing pancreatic cells. Potassium supports blood pressure regulation and kidney protection. Calcium supports vascular muscle tone, helping arteries relax and contract efficiently rather than becoming rigid over time. At the organ level, the effects are broad. For the heart, mulberry leaves support improvements in LDL cholesterol and triglycerides, while raising protective HDL, reducing heart attack and stroke risk. For the kidneys, calmer blood sugar and healthier blood pressure means less strain on delicate filtering structures. For the nervous system, the antioxidant profile supports protection against oxidative damage, contributing to neuropathy. The liver benefits too because improved glucose metabolism can reduce fat deposits and support overall metabolic function. Clinical research on mulberry leaf supplementation shows measurable reductions in fasting blood glucose, A1C, and fasting insulin over time. Longer-term studies suggest these effects are most pronounced in people with higher baseline glucose, meaning it works in real bodies under real metabolic stress, not just in theory. Now, practical ways to use mulberry leaves. Mulberry leaf tea. Take about 5 to 7 dried mulberry leaves and pour about 500 milliliters of hot water, again, not boiling, around 90 degrees, over them. Steep for 10 minutes until the water becomes a deep, earthy color. Drink warm before breakfast or before a higher carbohydrate meal to reduce post-meal spikes and give your metabolism a helpful advantage. Mulberry leaf infusion with mint and lemon. Boil 500 milliliters of water, then add 6 mulberry leaves, a handful of fresh mint leaves, and the juice of half a lemon. Simmer gently for about 8 minutes. Strain, then allow it to cool to around 75 degrees before drinking. This version adds vitamin C and mint's digestive calming effect, which can further support insulin sensitivity. Mulberry leaf vegetable broth. In 1 liter of water, add 8 to 10 mulberry leaves, 2 cups of chopped non-starchy vegetables like spinach and zucchini, and 1 teaspoon of turmeric. Simmer around 95 degrees for 20 minutes, then strain. This releases antioxidants and nutrients that slow glucose absorption and support vascular health. Daily dosing. A typical recommendation is 250 to 500 milliliters of mulberry leaf tea or infusion per day, ideally consumed before meals for the strongest glucose modulating effect. Too much can cause mild digestive discomfort like bloating or loose stools, especially for sensitive people. If you take diabetes medications, monitor your blood sugar closely to avoid hypoglycemia. And if you have underlying kidney disease or you're pregnant, consult your healthcare provider before using it regularly. The combination of D&J, fiber, antioxidants, minerals, and other bioactive compounds creates multiple supportive mechanisms working at the same time to stabilize glucose, protect vascular health, and support metabolic function throughout the body. So we've explored 3 leaves: bay, guava, and mulberry. Each one has unique compounds and mechanisms that research suggests may support blood sugar management, cardiovascular health, and metabolic function. These are not miracle cures. They are not replacements for medical care, medications, or the comprehensive plan you're building with your healthcare team. But they are evidence-based options many people find useful as part of a broader strategy. The key is consistency, appropriate portions, and understanding how these leaves work so you can use them intelligently and safely. When combined with balanced nutrition, regular movement, adequate sleep, and proper medical care, these traditional remedies may offer real support for the metabolic challenges you're facing. If you stayed through the entire video, type "clear" in the comments. Even one word helps this information reach more people who may benefit from understanding how these traditional plant remedies work at the cellular and metabolic level. And I'd love to hear from you. Have you ever used any of these leaves? Are you curious to try one of them? What questions do you have about incorporating them into your routine? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If there are other topics related to metabolic health, blood sugar management, or natural approaches you'd like me to explore in future videos, please tell me. Your questions and suggestions help guide what I create next. If you found this video helpful, please give it a thumbs up and consider sharing it with someone managing diabetes, prediabetes, or cardiovascular concerns. Knowledge becomes more valuable when it's shared. And if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel and turn on notifications so you don't miss future videos on evidence-based approaches to metabolic health and chronic disease management. Remember, this journey is about progress, not perfection. Small, informed choices done consistently over time create meaningful improvements in how your body functions. Take care of yourself. I'm Dr. Matthew Brooks, and I'll see you in the next video.